It's a blessing to welcome on the newest member of Georgetown, former EKU star, Tre King. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Absolutely. Well, take us through how you're feeling right now. We know you're committed, spent 3 years, really just became a star in the OVC, and now you're heading out to the Big East, Georgetown, being coached by Coach Patrick Ewing. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I mean, it's a dream come true. As a kid, we spent all this time dreaming about one day you want to play at the highest level against all these people and all these places. I mean, just seeing all the hard work and the extra hours and stuff finally start to pay off. It's a great feeling.
Absolutely. We're going to get more into Georgetown in a little bit, but I kind of want Georgetown fans to get to know you a little bit better. Let's head back. You're obviously from Kentucky originally, so you're able to stay home during college for a little bit, but walk us through that. Like, what was it like growing up there in Kentucky?
It's different. It's very different. I mean, basketball is huge here. You got Kentucky 5-10 minutes away from my house, so that influence was huge for me. And then being raised in a family of athletes. My dad played in college. He played at Drake, and then my mom played softball in high school, and then uncles played at Vanderbilt and Drake as well, and football and stuff like that. Just having that athlete background, it was always in my blood. I mean, it's just a matter of when I was going to decide to play. And you know, as a kid, growing up, like my dad kind of let me just make that choice on my own. And then when I made that decision to play basketball, it was up from there. So
How much did that kind of help develop you? Like, what was it like just kind of growing up in that family?
it was definitely a big influence. Being a second generation, basketball player, you kind of learn to see the game differently. Like growing up, a lot of kids these days, watching basketball, they just pay attention to the highlights, the big time plays. But like growing up, with a dad who played and he played at a high level, you learn to see it from all angles, all perspectives. You learn to see the little things. Like for example, coming off a ball screen, it's really like the screener who puts the play in motion because he makes the defense shift and stuff like that. And but most people, they see the lob or something or the dunk or the three that comes right after it or stuff like that. So I mean, it just helps me to see basketball from all perspectives, all angles, which I think plays a part in how I play. Just really being a student of the game, learning and watching. I think that's what it's affected the most.
You've had a couple of posts before about him too, kind of talking about how much he's been there for you, helping you, just truly being a dad in your life. How big has that just been for you? Not just even on the basketball aspect, but kind of on and off the court.
No, it's been huge. I mean, I owe him a lot. He was one of the first. He was the first person to believe in me. He's my, as he says, he's my biggest cheerleader. So it's always been great to have him there as a coach and a mentor. But he's what he's learned over these past few years. Really know when to pick and choose, when to be on me, when to tell me I can do this, and this better. When to be dad. That's one of the biggest things that's really helped our relationship. Is just being able to step away from basketball at times. Just talk about other stuff too. But he's great. So.
Now, Kentucky isn't necessarily one of the most well-known basketball areas. It's known for, obviously, there's some guys that come out of there, but it's not like a power-producing place in terms of kids that grow up out there become stars at the next level. How are you able to push yourself, though? Because I know it can be challenging when you go out to high school and you dominate most of your games. How are you able to still grow and kind of push yourself, even though there may not be as much talent, as much of a spotlight on Kentucky basketball?
Yeah, most definitely. That's one thing. It's just Kentucky's very under recruited. Not a lot of guys, like you said, come out of here, and not a lot of even fewer guys, play at a high level. So I mean, uh, I've kind of taken an interesting perspective at it. Now, getting ready to go into the Big East and coming to Georgetown, I've really learned how to develop a chip on my shoulder, so to speak. Just showing guys, there are guys in Kentucky that can play, that can hoop, and that can be successful at the highest level. And I just want to be an example of one of those guys, and kind of pave the way for other guys coming up through the state.
So you go into high school then, and you don't spend your whole time there. You always make a transition then for your last couple of years of high school. But walk us that first decision. You play at Lexington Christian. Why is that the school you chose to go to?
Um, at the time, it was just the most competitive basketball I could have played. Public schools around here, growing up, they didn't really play. They only played each other in the city. They didn't play that many games, and so taking that decision into account, we were looking at schools, visiting, talking to coaches, and we came across LCA, and they were playing almost a college schedule, 30 some games, tournaments and all that stuff. And they were going all over. So it was the best opportunity for me to play against other people, better competition, stuff like that. So that's why.
I want to sidetrack a little bit real quick because I know you also introduced you as Tre King because that's your name, which you go by, but I believe your full name is Marvin Otis King. Walk us through how you started becoming Trey.
It's kind of funny. My parents have always called me Trey, but I'm actually the third Marvin. So my granddad, he's the senior, the first one. My dad, he's junior, the second, and I'm the third. But I guess just to save the confusion, they just called me Trey. So
absolutely. Well, you go out there to Lexington Christian, and you have a teammate out there that some people probably recognize the last name from, Brad Calipari. He also went on to play collegiately as well now. But talk about your guys' bond. What was it like playing with him?
it was cool. Brad's obviously the son of Coach Cal. So like he's seen guys play at a high level, and it was cool to see him, bring that different level of intensity and bring that kind of edge to practice and stuff, and just being around him. So it was fun. It made stuff competitive, and I think being around him and seeing how he played and stuff like that, it kind of made me want to kind of get with him, even as a younger guy.
Was Coach Cal ever involved? Did he ever come to the games? Was he ever able to kind of support Brad or kind of support the team?
No, definitely. For the demand of college basketball, it's no joke. But I mean, he was there anytime he can. He came to practices, he came to games, and he was still a dad. So I respect him for it.
That's something unique because obviously he's not your coach, but you kind of get to see the other side of coaches because a lot of people just see them when they're on that court. Sometimes you might see some interviews here and there, but you don't kind of see a coach, especially of his status, off the court, kind of the way he just acts when he's with family. What was the differences and what kind of did you take away from that?
It was really cool actually because just seeing him, like you see him on TV and you're just like, wow, like it's really John Calipari, and like this big basketball guy, but like just being around him, he doesn't live up to that like persona. He's just like a regular dude, which I respected. Like a lot of people be in the spotlight like that, they get that that attitude about them, like that they're better than everybody else. But I mean, I never got that vibe from them. They just seemed like regular people, which was cool.
You also, being a basketball player, your main goal is to play at the college level someday. But when did that kind of start becoming a reality for you? Because you obviously weren't always the highest ranked recruit. You started getting some more offers, more towards your upperclassmen years. But you still never really had the whole spotlight on you that some guys that are now playing at Georgetown will kind of have on them. So walk us through that other process. Like, how did you handle not necessarily always being the highest ranked recruit or being someone that's heavily pursued?
I mean, coming up in AAU and stuff like that, I never really cared about the rankings. I just, and it goes back to what I'm saying about having a chip on my shoulder. I saw them as regular people. They tie their shoes the same way I do. They come into work every day like I do. I mean, stars don't mean nothing to me. So like, my biggest thing was just going out there and just showing everybody what I can do. And I think I really got a grasp that I could, play at the next level going into my freshman year. That eighth grade summer, still going through puberty, learning my body and stuff like that. And I think that's when I really, really, really started to take, my game and stuff serious. And that's when I started to see some of my biggest jumps. And, just coming back to high school season after AAU, like I saw the difference. I felt different. And I was like, I want to keep going. I want to keep playing. So I think that's when I really noticed.
You're about 6'9" now, and to be honest, when you watch you guys play, you look a lot taller than 6'9". You play like you're 6'10", 6'11", in that kind of range. How have you grown into your body, though, and been able to really use that to such a strength when you're on the court?
A lot of extra hours, doing a lot of extra. In the off season, I lift on my own, I run on my own, I get up shots on my own, like just knowing that, at the time, like that's what the team needed for me to do. To be is to play a lot tougher and to guard a lot bigger guys because we weren't the biggest team out there. And just knowing that, knowing that my team, that's what my team needed. I mean, that's what I did, and I tried to do everything to the best of my ability, and I think that's what I did. So,
when would you personally say you started really feeling that you grew into your body and started feeling comfortable in it?
I probably have to say probably my senior year of high school.
Mhm.
That's when I really, started to get a grasp of what I can do and what I was capable of. And since then, I've just started to, learn my body more and the more intricacies and the details and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of made all the difference.
On that freshman year, you guys go 18-12, and then there's a coaching change that happens. You end up having Coach Valentine come in, becoming a new coach. Walk us through that transition and really how you handle the new adjustment.
It was definitely different. My first year playing varsity, I was in the 8th grade, so I was already a young guy, trying to prove myself and show that I could play. So it was kind of a shock, uh, with the coaching change, just because like I worked hard to get the little bit of playing time that I was getting, and then it was kind of frustrating,
Mhm.
having to prove myself yet again to another guy, But I mean, it's life and it happens, so it just made me work harder just to show that I belong again.
That sophomore year, you guys go 19-10, end up being your best non-prep season when you go to Hargrave, but your best overall season at Lexington Christian. Walk us through that year, though. Like, what led to that breakout year for you guys, and just kind of take us through that campaign.
Um, Man, it was a whirlwind. We had one of our best starts, in school history in a while. We started off 6-0, something like that, rolling through everybody. And then I mean we hit this little spurt where we had a little losing streak, That's when break starts to roll around and people, they just want to relax and stuff like that. But I mean it was part of it's it's adversity, it's a part of it. And then late into the year, we hit our stride again and we were really rolling. And then one of our key players, he actually plays at Liberty now, Kyle Road, hurt his foot and he was out for a while. And we hit a little slump again, and then going into the tournament, like 2 of our seniors got sick, so we didn't go as far as we wanted to. We ended up losing in districts to actually the state champ. So I mean, it's not the outcome we wanted, but I mean, it could be worse. We lost the state champ, so.
You then decided to make the transition. This is something that obviously isn't too surprising. We know a lot of guys like to move to a prep school or some form of just getting more competition. That's the decision you take. You decided to go out there to Hargrave Academy. Walk us through that, though, and how did that become the school you ultimately chose to go to?
It's actually a funny story. Middle school, one of my coaches, he left. He left, and he was coaching at a prep school, Gonzaga in DC, for a while. And then, like 5 years after he got the job at Gonzaga, he quit. And he became a prep school recruiter. And so for a while, he was following me and tracking my progress and stuff like that, keep in touch with my dad. And going into my sophomore year, or the end of my sophomore year, he called my dad and he said, "Hey, there's a guy. He runs a prep school in Virginia. He's from Kentucky and he wants to get guys from Kentucky who haven't been recruited, who haven't really been, on that stage to like for colleges to see him to get them to the next level." He said, I talked to him about you, showed him some stuff. He wants you to come take a visit. So the end of the school year, me and my dad, we took the drive to Virginia, visited Hargrave, uh, took a visit, worked out with the team, got to play with them a little bit. Coach Hamilton, he was the coach of Hargrave at the time. He said, "I love you. I love everything about you." He said, "I want you here." And, what sold it for me was seeing all the guys that went to Hargrave who played in the NBA and who were playing in college. Like when you walk in the gym, there's this big wall. It takes up both sides. It's just like 5 to 6 rows, just chock full of players. Like dudes I watched, like in the tournament and stuff like that. And it was crazy to me, like these guys went to Hargrave. So seeing that, like that's what made me realize this is where I need to be. So that's when I made the move.
You said one big name that obviously we know you end up reuniting with him. That's Coach Hamilton. How did your bond first start with him, though? Like, how did it click? How did you know it was such a great bond? Because obviously you decided to go there for college with him. Like, how did you guys just click so quickly?
I honestly don't know. It was just one of those things. It's just you just can't explain it. I mean, it was just an instant connection. I mean, we have a lot of similarities. We were never like the biggest recruits playing and stuff like that. We're real hard workers and stuff like that. So I think just the way we approach, working and practicing in the game. I think that's what really, connected us.
We'll get back into Coach Hamilton in a second, but walk us through that first season, though. You guys go out there 26-5, a pretty solid year. Not as great as the year you're going to have your senior year then, but for that first year out there, though, you take us through that season and really what it was like playing at that stage.
It was fun. It was really fun. Just, being away from home, it was a struggle at first, but I mean, I was around a bunch of guys who were doing the same thing I was doing, going through the same things I were, and I think that's what helped us have a great season is just our ability to click through the game. I mean, every weekend we were all in the gym together, working out, playing, really like taking it, like trying to, make strides and get to the next level. And I think all of our hunger just really, fueled our success. And I think it was fun because we were beating teams by like 30, 20 each game. So it was great.
The one thing that I don't know if everyone really realizes what's maybe in my opinion, probably the biggest aspect of going to a prep school or some form of competition like that is that you obviously have those practices where it's nearly the entire roster is playing at the next level. A lot of them are playing Division I. So day in, day out, you're obviously going up against a lot of guys, some of the best players in the country. How much does that push you just being in that type of environment?
It definitely pushes you because either you're gonna come in and work every day or there's somebody who's gonna take your spot. And I mean, being on a team like that, like literally everybody's talented. So it really pushes you, and it really makes you realize like you really have to come with it every day because there are other guys who are just as hungry as you are, if not hungrier. And it's really one of those things like it's a dog eat dog world. So.
And you're a guy that was able to go out there and on both situations, both teams out there, you're one of, not the main go-to guy on those teams. How are you able to kind of merge and become bigger and better than all other guys on the team where you really get that predominant kind of role on the team?
I think it just speaks to the extra work, really taking my game a lot more serious. And I think that's one thing I've consistently done just growing up is at each level I progress, just the more and more I really try to perfect my craft and really try to get better. And I think it, like I said earlier, just being away from home, all the distractions, a lot of the distractions, if not all of them, are gone. So, I mean, being in Virginia, basically the middle of nowhere, like it's literally just you and basketball. And I mean, I don't know. It just all came together.
If you go talk to another guy that's kind of an underrated recruit like yourself, or even a guy that is a higher recruit, like anyone that wants to play at the next level, a Division I level, would you say playing a national schedule, going to a prep school or academy, something like that has a lot of talent? Is that the best move? Is that the best fit for a guy?
No, I definitely think so. And I think that's one of the things that helped me, coming in as a freshman is it smoothed the transition. Just because Coach Hamilton, while we were at Hargrave, he ran practice like it was college. I mean, you had other D1 guys who were playing in college, so he ran it just like college. So getting on campus here at EKU, it was the smoothest transition just because I've done it for 2 years already, so I already knew what to expect. So.
You then head into your senior campaign, your final year of high school basketball, and you play on a post-grad team where you guys end up going 38-4. You guys make it to the national championship on Elite Eight. You play with a lot of guys, specifically Trey McGowens is a big-time player now. Like, you guys are on one of the better teams in the entire country. What was it like being a part of that team?
It was great. We all genuinely liked each other. I think that's what made it even more fun. How some teams like there's a little bit of beef and like people don't really get along, but I think everybody from top to bottom we were genuinely cool with each other, and we just really had fun playing with each other on the court. And it's more fun when you're winning. Like it's fun when you're winning, but it's even more fun when you get to have fun in the process. And I mean, playing this schedule and making the run that we did, like it didn't feel. There was no stress. There was no worries because we were just out there hooping. So nothing more you could ask for.
Would you say that was the funnest year of basketball for you? I know this past year probably was pretty fun too overall at EKU, but what was your funnest year of basketball, you'd say?
I'd probably have to say my senior year, my junior senior year was probably my funnest years.
Go a little bit deeper into playing with Trey because, like I said, he's another guy that's now play at the high major level. He's playing Nebraska, incredible player. What was it like playing alongside him?
It was great. Like Trey's a dog. He's dynamic. He's athletic as all get out. He's fast. He's a good passer, a great defender. He's a good shooter. You know, he's he just did everything for us. We needed a bucket. He got it. We needed to stop against one of the better players. Like he guarded him. He was just dynamic from top to bottom all year, and he did some things. You're just like, oh my god, like you just made your jaw drop. But it was great, and you couldn't ask for a better teammate and a better person.
Did you guys ever play one-on-one? And if so, how'd those games go?
Oh, they were definitely competitive. They were competitive as all get out. That's one thing me and Trey love to do was compete and go against each other. And I think that's one thing that really helped both of us is at the next level is just learn to go at each other. But we definitely got the best of each other at times. I got the best of him. He got the best of me. But I think it made us both better at the end. So
when you see a guy like Trey and you see a lot of your teammates and playing at the next level, what's like kind of watching all you guys now go out there and live out your dream?
It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's a dream come true because, like I said, just being away from family, you get lonely, you get in your head, stuff like that. And, me and Trey had a lot of talks about this is like whenever each of us were struggling, we were just like, it's gonna pass. Like we're gonna we're right here. And just seeing each other shine and be successful at this level is just like it gives you a sense of pride because now I can honestly call Trey and the other guys on my team like my brothers. So just seeing everybody be successful, it's just coming full circle, and it's just a great feeling.
And then going to that recruiting process, and we know we're in the choosing Eastern Kentucky, you return back home, but you have other schools in the mix. Merck State's there, Old Dominion's in the mix for you. Why was Eastern Kentucky the school you're choosing to go
to? Just the connection. It was something like no other. That was one thing I searched for my first go around this recruitment. I didn't have a connection with the head coaches. It kind of bothered me because I'm a relationship guy. Like I don't want everything to just be business. I want to be able to, have a personal relationship with you as well. And when I saw Coach got the job, as soon as he got it, he reached out to me. He said, "How would you like to come out to Richmond?" I was like, "I love it." And that next week, I came on an official visit, and at the end of my visit, I committed to.
Now he's a different kind of coach. I love Coach Hamilton because we know he's probably, if not the most energetic coach in the entire country. He's got all kinds of funny stuff he's always doing. What's that energy like? Because there's not many coaches out there. There might be a handful I can think of, but if he's not number one, he's in the top three. What's his energy like, though?
It's like no other. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He never stops. He's always yelling. He's always getting everybody going. It's just he never stops. He truly never stops. There's not a moment he's quiet. There's not a moment he keeps still. He's always on the go. And I think that's kind of the identity our team took on is just like a team is always on go, always on go. And I think that's what led to our success, especially this past year.
Did he have that same energy in high school, or did that kind of really start developing and evolving when he got to college?
Oh no, he's been the same guy ever since I've known him.
So all this time with him now, what's the funniest thing? Because there's a lot of funny things that the people get to see, but off camera wise, what's the funniest story you have with Coach Hamilton in the past 3-4 years now?
Man, the funniest thing he's probably done is probably this past year. We were playing Morehead State at our place, and we were kind of struggling. Our energy was just down, and we just couldn't really get it going. So we're all quiet, heads down and stuff like that. And as soon as he came in, he sprinted in. I'll never forget it. He sprinted in and drop kicked the whiteboard and then just started chewing everybody out. He threw his markers, broke his whiteboard, and just screamed his head off. And when I saw him kick it, I'll never forget it. I was like, this is crazy. It's something you see on wrestling, and I was like, yo, this guy's really nuts. But in the end, we won, so I can't really judge him because it worked.
I'm not sure too many guys would still do that. 'Cause I think a lot of coaches are a little more nervous. They know some of the stories of past coaches that have done that before. But as a locker room, like obviously you're down, like you guys were down at the point game. But like, were you laughing inside? Did you start laughing after the game? Like, when did you start finding that that was pretty funny?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. After the initial shock kind of wore off, it was hilarious. I mean, I had to, do one of those numbers where you tuck your face in your jersey, just you smile. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Have you guys discussed that post that happened? Like, did your team kind of discuss that? Did he discuss that after it happened?
He never discussed it, but we bring it up all the time, and it's still funny. It'll never not be funny to me. So
How about just his personality wise? Obviously, he's an energetic guy, but like you said, you truly can build that true relationship with him, that true connection with him. What's he like just when you get to talk to him on a personal level?
I mean, he's a good guy. He's real genuine. He's brutally honest. I mean, he'll tell it like it is, and if he doesn't tell you like it is, it's because he doesn't care about you. But I mean, he cares about everybody on our team. He'll go out of his way for everybody. He's just a great people person. So
Everyone always discusses building character in the locker room and really building that culture is something that's key for anybody. And you guys have a unique thing that not too many other teams have, and that's the belt. Walk us through that a little bit.
uh, the belts, man, it was something. Everybody, like I said earlier, they get caught up in the highlight plays, the oohs and the ahs and stuff like that. But the belt symbolizes all the little things. Because at the end of the day, little things is what wins the game. So every game, we take the belt with us on the road or at home, and whoever makes the best or the most little plays, like taking charges, diving on the floor, getting deflections, helping your teammate up when he falls, stuff like that. Like they get the belt for the day, and I think it became a symbol, like something that everybody wants. Obviously, everybody wants to attain, but it just showed like who was the hardest worker, and I think that everybody on our team, it made us so hungry that everybody wanted the belt. So it just made everybody play harder.
When you look at that, like you said, it makes everyone work a lot harder. But when did that first start? Was that something that started up back when you were a freshman? Did that come into play this year? Like, how did the belt start and when did it start?
The belt's been around ever since he came to EKU. I mean, he had it at Hargrave as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something he's always had with him, and I think he's always going to keep it. So
let's go into that freshman year. Obviously, this is a new experience. It's college basketball for yourself now, but you come in and you really start getting your role right away. Obviously, it takes some time to start starting and more towards the end of the year, but overall in the year, you average 6 points, 4 rebounds, a block, a steal per game. Take us to that freshman year, though, and how you really got acclimated to the college life.
It was full of adversity. The summer going into my freshman year, I tore 3 ligaments in my left hand, so I had to have surgery, and I missed out on the entire summer after I got there. And then just getting back into the flow and practicing with everybody. It was a struggle at first, just because I missed out on so much. But I mean, I never backed down from a challenge, and I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. So I just dug in and worked hard. And I mean, a week before Christmas break, that's when I got my first start. So I went from not playing or playing like 5 minutes a game to starting, and then I started the rest of the conference. It was fun, and then just being around older guys who really helped me and brought me along, and really encouraged me. I think that's what really helped me get acclimated.
It's really unique to see the way you guys develop, and unless you really are someone that covers basketball pretty heavily, probably people aren't really aware of what you guys did. That freshman year, you start off 13-18. The sophomore year, you're just a game under 500. And this year, 22-7. And you guys were a team that I wish could have gotten in the tournament because you guys had a lot of special talents there. But really, the first couple pieces, obviously yourself, we already discussed you a little bit, but Jamar is out there too. Walk us through him though. Like, what was his impact on the program, and what was it like playing with him?
He was a dynamic scorer. Can score at all 3 levels. He's also a great defender. I mean, you can't ask for a better teammate. This past year, unfortunately, he tore his labrum, so he missed a lot. But I mean, he was still energetic and happy for everybody. He still encouraged everybody like he was still playing. And I mean, that's you can't ask for nothing better.
So you go out there, and there's a couple different flashes that really start showing your potential throughout your freshman year. one of which is your 10 rebound performance against Midway, November 13th, off the bench. Walk us through that, because you have become really someone that can score a pretty good amount too, yes, but your best thing is you're able to rebound at a high clip. How are you able to come in off the bench, grab 10 rebounds pretty early into your career?
I mean, I just had to, coming in, sitting on the bench, you get to watch a lot of the game, and you get to see everything. And just one thing I noticed is we weren't the best rebounding team, and I realized, that's one thing that I could do to get on the floor. And so that's one thing I really focused on is, rebounding. And the more rebounds I got, the more I got to play. And the more I got to play, the more I got to show, what I can do. So I think that was one of the biggest things that really got this thing rolling for me.
You just said something that's really key that I don't think a lot of guys always value, and you ultimately have become a starter now, so it's not really something you do anymore. But for those that do start off with the bench role, or even consistently have a bench role, the benefits of that, like you said, is you get to sit back, you watch the way the team plays, also the way the other team plays, and kind of know how to put yourself out there in the best situation. How are you able to kind of stay mentally positive during that time instead of obviously complaining, looking at just not starting yet? How are you able to stay positive and truly take a benefit off of coming off the bench?
I mean, I just knew I had to stay patient. You know, you never know when your number's called, and I think that was one thing that I really focused on because I didn't want to miss my opportunity. Before I even got to college, I've seen guys, who complained and were mad they weren't getting like their time, and then, while they're having their pity party and stuff like that, the numbers called and then they don't perform, which just brings them to another hole. And I was like, I made up in my mind I don't want to be one of those guys. So that's what I really focused on, and took every day. Even like without being in the game, I treated practice as my game, as my opportunity to show coach what I can do and give him an idea that, oh, this kid's ready. I can rely on him. So
a day does come then, December 22nd. You get your very first start against Duquesne. How did you get that announcement, though? Did one of the coaches talk to you about it? Would you just kind of find out pregame? How did you learn that you're going to become a starter?
that week leading into the Duquesne trip, I think that Wednesday, coach brought me in before practice, told me he was proud of me and he was proud of how far I've come from, the injury in the summer to now. He's like, you've really worked hard to show that you belong here and to show that you can play. And he's like, I told you in the beginning to stay ready. You'll never know when your time's coming. He was like, this week when we play, he's like, I'm going to start you. He was like, don't get comfortable. Don't think you arrived. You still have a long way to go. But he's like, I just want you to know that I'm proud of you and that your hard work has paid off. And so
you obviously start the rest of your career besides obviously your night stuff or whatnot, but how were you able to take that? Because you could have obviously taken the starting role and then let off the gas a little bit and fallen back, but you continue to develop, you continue to improve to where all of a sudden this past year, your first team All-OVC. How are you able to kind of stay on the gas and keep on working and really kind of lock in the starting spot long term?
I just made new goals. Simply, I didn't, like coach told me, I didn't want to get comfortable. And I mean, being a Hargrave, I saw, how competitive college is, and I was like, I don't want to lose this. So I made up in my mind that I wasn't gonna, go backwards. I want to keep moving forwards. And every time something good happened, like my first start, I just made a new goal. Like, what do I want to do now? And I mean, I set the goals and I reach it, and as soon as I reach that, I make another one, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of my thing.
The last thing I want to touch upon from your freshman campaign, you go out there and you have your very first double-double against Jacksonville State. And at that time, they were the number one team in the conference. How were you able to go out there, and what was it like in that very first double-double?
It was great. I didn't even realize that I did it till after the game. But Jacksonville State was one of our rivals, our unspoken rivals, so to speak. Every time we played them, it was competitive. It was shippy. It was a tough game, and just being in that environment and playing against them, I think it just fueled the fire even more. So.
Your sophomore year is your big breakout year. You get second team All-OVC that year. You just have a lot of additions to the team. You guys get one game under 500. What was your sophomore year like?
It was good. It was full of some challenges, full of some adversity. We lost a couple guys to injuries, 3 key guys to injuries. So we had to do a lot of shifting around, and we got to a certain point where we only had literally eight guys, eight guys who could play. So just seeing that we were still somewhat successful, even though all the hardships and the struggles that we had, it really showed and spoke to our toughness and our resilience.
You guys added in a big piece of the team in Michael that year. What was his addition to the team? How did he help you guys really produce and ultimately have, we know he has a big impact in this past year, but what was that kind of getting him to this team?
It was definitely a help. It was a huge help. Michael's ability to shoot the ball, really space out the floor, and gave us a lot more opportunity or a lot more ways to score because people had to worry about him, and because people worried about him, that he took a little pressure off of me and gave me the ability to do some things while guys like Jamaru could do some things as well.
So when did you start getting comfortable? Like when would you say was the game that you started saying, okay, I'm settling down now. I feel comfortable at the college level. I think I can be one of the better players every time on the court. Like when did it all start coming together for you?
I don't know if I could put a specific date on it, but I'd have to go back to my freshman year. I got to a point where I really just loved watching film, and I would sit with one of our coaches at least twice a week, 2-3 times a week, just watching game film, watching practice film, watching stuff, and seeing what I can do better. And as a result, I started to notice the game started to slow down for me, and I could see things that I noticed on film happen in the game, and I think that really helped. And that's really when I started to realize, like, I can really do this.
You're not the only guy that says that. A lot of guys, when I ask that question, say it is when they find us how to embrace film and start loving it, start really using film to the advantage for them. What led you to that, though? Was it Coach Hamilton or one of the coaches saying, hey, let's get in the film room, let's start working on that more? Did you just get the feeling all of a sudden? Was your dad or someone impacting you? Like, what led you to also start really embracing film?
It was one of our assistant coaches, Coach Lepore. One day he was just like, "Hey, I want to show you a couple things." Um, he's like, "Come sit with me. We'll watch some film during the day," and I did. And that practice, I noticed like a couple things, and like I saw, and I had one of like my best practices. I was like, "Hey, I should start really doing this a lot more." So I would text him and I'd call him and be like, "Can we do this again?" And we kept doing it, and then it got to the point where we do it on the road too. So we'd watch film with the team, and then like later that night or early the next day, like I'd go in his room and we'd watch film some more before the game, and became a habit. And I really started to become even more so of a student of the game, and it really helped.
You ended up getting second team All-OVC. How did you learn about that award, and what was your reaction?
It was a funny story. I was sleeping, and I woke up and my phone was just buzzing. And there's just a bunch of people saying congrats, and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is everybody talking about? And then that's when Coach Hamilton called me. He was like, congrats, you got second team All-OVC. He's like, I'm proud of you. But he's like, this isn't the end all be all, keep working. But enjoy this. He was like, you earned it. We're proud of you and stuff like that. So
you have your biggest jump then your past season, your junior year, but we know, like I said, COVID comes into effect. We're in quarantine. You don't know how much time you're gonna have to spend at home, but what was your mentality? Because as a basketball player, I can get a chance to go out there and work. I can go put in new work, improve my game. What were the biggest things you keyed in on during this past offseason during quarantine?
The biggest thing, or was a specific thing I really keyed in on, but it was just this thing in my mind, just like stay ready. We never know when quarantine was going to be over, or when things were going to get back to normal or somewhat normal. But I was like, I don't want to come in behind. I was like, I don't want to. Once I get to school, once I get to campus, I want to be able to work. I want to get to it, like straight to it. And COVID really taught me to get creative. Everything was shut down, the gyms and stuff like that. So I really had to, start to think about stuff I could do like around the house or outside or the park, open space and stuff like that. With my workouts and stuff like that. I think that really helped.
I know a lot of teams started doing the virtual meetings through Zoom, working out as a team like once or twice a week. Did you guys do that? And I can already imagine if you did, Coach Hamilton would probably bring it to a lot more fun than most coaches probably did. So if you guys did do that, like what was the online virtual courses and workouts like?
They were different. They were real different. Difficult because not everybody has access to the same things. In their houses and stuff like that. So one thing I liked that me and my teammates did, we really got creative. We made a group chat that summer, and we just met up and we work out. There's a hill on campus. We'd all meet. We'd run the hill. We'd do some sprint work, do some stretching, do abs, stuff like that. And we really started to embrace the process together. I think that's really what helped us build chemistry so early, which is why we were so successful despite the COVID and everything else going on. It's just we embraced the process together, and we were like, even though we can't really be on the court and stuff, there's still other stuff we can do. So
at this point, you had 2 years under your belt now of a typical college year with fans, no COVID stuff. This year, you have to start getting the daily tests. You have to start having the locker room stuff, a mask all the time. We know you already know that you embraced all the different stuff you had to change this year. How did you get accustomed to that, though? What was it like having to deal with all these new COVID adjustments this past season?
it was, it was different. It was real different. It was frustrating, but that's what we gotta do in order to play. So we just had to toughen up and deal with it. But I mean, after a while, it wasn't that bad. But I will say the first COVID test was terrible. So
that's something that everyone talks about. That there's a lot of funny stories you guys have had because of taking all the COVID stuff. What was the funniest moment you guys had as a team, rather it be with the testing or different protocols that you guys really had just kind of was a funny moment you guys had to embrace during the COVID time?
The funniest thing was probably just seeing our coaches cry, getting the needle up their nose and stuff like that. They try to act all hard and stuff like that, but just seeing like a little needle and stuff like that and make their eyes water a little bit. It was kind of funny. So.
And this ends up being a special team, but you'd think that when a lot of people look at the team, that probably wasn't at first thought a special team, especially when you look at obviously one of the possible leaders of the team, a guy that probably was preseason first team for you guys, goes down Jamaru. Then you also have a big time transfer and Brandon come in. He ends up missing the year. All this kind of unfolds, and we know Wendell steps up and becomes a superstar himself. He used to take a big jump. Kurt comes in, and he's a star as a freshman. What was this year like, though, when you're working out preseason? Did you guys think you guys could be this special?
Us personally, we believed, even though nobody else did. Just knowing the group of guys that we had and the amount of talent that we had, like I got to play with Knapp at Hargrave, so I knew what he could do. And then I've known Kurt since high school and played with him in AAU and stuff like that, so I already knew what he could do. And just knowing the potential that we had on our team, I think we always knew that we could be special. And then just seeing, guys like Wynn and Kurt step up when guys went down, it was huge for us. So, I mean, it was nothing short of what we expected.
I'm not sure if Wendell and Kurt would have been reduced at the level they did had the injuries not occurred. But let's say those guys are still here and you add in Brandon. He's able to play this year. Jamar's able to come out and play. If you guys had the full force, everyone out there, how much more special could you guys have been?
No, we definitely would have made history. There's no doubt in my mind we would have won the OVC championship and our school's first NCAA tournament win. So
when you talk about Wen, he came in as a guy that was unranked. No one really knew about him, even though he started at Lamere, one of the most prestigious prep schools you could be at. And he comes in, though. Were you shocked by how good he was? That very first day of practice, did you think he was that good? Was it shocking how good he was? Like, what was your first reactions to Wen?
My first reaction wasn't even in practice. My first reaction to him, he was playing in the same city as us. We were playing Northern Kentucky the night after he was playing. So a couple of us went to go see him play with our coaches, and just seeing him, I was like, "Yo, this kid is nice." And just watching him play, I was like, "Are we really getting this kid? He's coming for sure." Because he looked like a kid. Despite his size, he could play anywhere in the country. Mm-hmm. And then how he came in, pick up and in practice, and just dominated. I was like, I've never seen a kid more ready to play as a freshman before, ever. So I always knew that he was going to be something special. And then, things lined up. And unfortunately, people got injured and stuff like that. But, I mean, things opened up for him, and he had an opportunity. He took it. And, I mean, he thrived. I mean, he did nothing less than what I expected. So.
And you could really watch how he got more and more comfortable throughout the year. He obviously always was a great passer that still stayed pretty much the same all year. But that scoring really ticked up. We saw him also go for 20-plus, I think 5 of the last 6 games, including a near 30-point game. What was that like? Watching the way he took up scoring, you started seeing him pull the ball from all over the place, shooting, driving, attacking. What's like watching a guy play at that level?
It's a thing of beauty. Just seeing his confidence grow. I think that was the most exciting thing because I told him, I was like, bro, I know like your shot's not falling right now, but like it's just a slump, bro. But you just got to keep shooting. And I think, you know, knowing that like we were behind him and that we believed in him, and then just seeing him go for games like that, it was a great feeling.
You two really grew that bond together. It became evident that you guys had that dynamic duo. Kurt really emerged too, where you guys kind of formed that trio, big three type of situation. But you and Wen just specifically, how did you guys really grow that bond? Like, how did you guys really become that dynamic duo out there that really started working around each other?
Um, I couldn't even tell you. I think it's just one of those things where we just clicked. Our first time playing together, we just had that chemistry, and just over time it got to grow more and more and more, and then just like how it evolved on the court. I mean, it was just great. He'd make passes, he know exactly where I'd be. I'd make a move, he'd cut, I know exactly where he was, like relocating around the three and stuff like that. So it was just really fun. It was really exciting to play with him.
There's a few things I want to touch up on your past season for you specifically, and one of which is your three-point percentage. That jumped a ton. You're shooting at 18% your career and rarely attempted a three either. But this year you come out, you start shooting about two of them per game, shooting at a 33% clip for yourself. What led to this outbreak and you really becoming a much more confident three-point shooter?
I think it definitely was the confidence. You know, I was always an okay shooter, but not shooting as many. I wasn't as confident in my shot. And I think that was one thing that I really worked on, was just being more confident in and taking it more. I think that was one thing that was my first 2 years. I was really hard on myself. Like if I missed my first one, I just wouldn't want to shoot another one, which really affected my percentage. But you know, coach sat me down. He was like, "You're not gonna make every shot," but he was like, "We believe in you." He's like, "We know you can shoot the ball. Now just go and shoot it." And I think that was one thing, letting go of that, in the back of my mind, like what if I miss type thing, and just like going out there and playing. I think that really helped my percentage and my ability to space the floor this year.
There's one quote unquote weakness for yourself I know a lot of people talk about, and that is your fouls. You fouled out multiple times this past season and had a lot of four foul games. Walk us through that though, and really how you've been working on and how you plan to really help that situation when you get to Georgetown.
Just picking my spots, when to contest shots, and when to be aggressive and when not to is just the biggest thing. The way we played at EKU these past 3 years, we're really aggressive, really in your face. So at times, we do get blown by. Just you know, just wanting to be there for your teammates. You want to help them out when they fall and stuff like that. Like I realize like I can't do it all the time. I think that's what got me in trouble, just trying to help everybody. Um, I think that was the biggest thing for me. But I mean, just knowing now, and it just came with watching film. Uh, Knowing when to go for block shots and when to jump the passing lanes and stuff like that. I think that's really helped. Having a sense more now of when to do it and when not to is really going to help me now that I'm headed to Georgetown.
There's one game that really started turning a lot of people's heads. Early in the year, you go out there November 30th, playing Xavier. You had the three-point buzzer beater to go to overtime, wrap up the game with 25 points, 13 rebounds. What got into you that night?
Um, I don't know. Looking back now, uh, I just felt like I belonged, like I belonged to play, like I deserved to play on a stage like that. Um, I never really had a moment like that, in my career where I just broke out in front of, in a big time setting, and it just felt like my night that night. So
The year came to a close now. You get all OVC first team along with Wen. You guys had, like I said, an incredible year. You guys didn't make the tournament, which I wish you guys did, but so 22-7. The growth you guys had from the 3 years you were there were incredible. What was it like that you look back now at this, you see the growth you guys made as a team. What's like kind of watching that and seeing that?
it definitely gives me a sense of pride, just knowing that I was a part of that. I built, I played a piece in building the program into what it is today. And people don't really see everything that goes into it. Everybody just sees the record and the numbers and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, you don't really know unless you're there. Going through it every day. All the long practices, all the extra conditioning, all that stuff that really nobody sees that goes into it, and then just seeing all of everybody's sacrifices and hard work and dedication really pay off and really bear fruit this third year. It's just it's like making a masterpiece and, sitting back and looking at your work like, wow, I did that. So it's great. It's a great feeling.
Now, we do know the whole rule comes in with the transfer portal, and that's obviously the decision you decided to take. So walk us through this decision. Like, why did you decide to put your name in the portal, and why was that really the route you want to take this upcoming year?
I mean, just like every kid's goal, is to play in the NBA. I mean, I truly believe that I have the potential and the ability to play at the professional level and play in the NBA. So, after talking with my family and praying about it a lot, I decided that I needed to, take steps to prepare for that next level. And, it wasn't an easy decision, but I felt like, I accomplished everything that I could have while I was at EKU, and that, like I said earlier, it was time to check into the box, make new goals, and it was time to change scenery. So
You put your name in that portal, then you get a lot of schools reach out to you. I think some of the favorites that kind of came down to the end were Xavier, Virginia Tech, Marquette. You choose Georgetown though, but who were the other schools? Like, were those other three I just listed the kind of your final four to a degree, or who kind of was in that final mix for you?
the final mix for me was my top my the final decision really came down to Georgetown and Pittsburgh, but my final four were Georgetown, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, and East Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't easy at all, but we just felt like Coach Ewing and the whole coaching staff. I really developed a relationship with all of them. I think they had the best plan to get for me to accomplish all my goals, to get to the next level, and just the opportunity to be able to make an impact right away really stood out to me.
This is a big time team because we saw in the end of the year, they all of a sudden turned up. They won the conference championship, which shocked pretty much everybody. I don't think anyone saw them go on that crazy run, especially looking at the season they just got done having. Looking at all this momentum, though, I know there's a lot of change. They've lost a couple of big pieces of the portal, but they have a top 5 recruiting class coming in that I'm extremely high on. They add you into the mix now. How special can this team be for next year?
I think we're going to be, phenomenal. I think we're going to be nothing short of a tournament team. And I truly believe that, with the pieces that we are bringing in, and then the pieces that we have now, like I have no doubt in my mind we can make it to the Final Four.
The coach at the head of this is a coach that's legendary, Hall of Fame player, someone that's done exactly what you want to do, play at the next level, and Coach Ewing. How excited does that make you, just knowing that this is a guy that's lived up the dreams you've done? You've been able to watch him before. Like, what's like just kind of embracing that and seeing that this is a guy that is really done what I want to do someday?
It's really exciting, like you said, he's done it. Like he's been there. He's played at the highest level. He's a Hall of Famer. It's just exciting, just being able to learn, having the opportunity to learn from a guy who's done it. I think that's the most exciting thing for me. And I'm just excited to see everything that I will be able to learn while under him.
When you talk to Coach, what does he want you to do this year? Like, what's his expectations for you to come out there and do for your first year out there?
From the talks that we've had, he expects me to be a leader. We're a pretty young team. We're losing a lot of seniors, losing a few guys to the transfer portal. So like we're kind of inexperienced. So he expects me to be a leader. He expects me to rebound, play defense, the basic stuff. But I think the biggest thing he wants me to do is help bring guys along and lead them.
How excited is he for this team? Like I said, it's going to be a lot of young guys. Might take some time to adjust to them and kind of get these guys accustomed to the college lifestyle. But how excited is he personally for when you guys all click and get together?
He's ecstatic. That's all we've talked about. Through the whole recruitment process, and even now, we're just excited about all being able to get to work together because we really believe that this is going to be a thing of beauty. So.
You do have a potential of using 2 years of eligibility. We know that they had the extra year because of this past year not really counting for anyone. Is this something you're going to look into? I mean, obviously, if you have the opportunity to go to the NBA, it's a locked-in spot. It's probably what you'll take. But is 2 years something you might look into? Like, can Georgetown fans hope for and have a legit chance of you coming back for 2 years?
No, most definitely there's a possibility. Right now, I'm just preparing to get to campus and to get to work, and everything will work out in God's timing, and it'll work out how it works out. So
if you could use one word to describe you, at both off the court, on the court, like just one word to describe Tre King, what would that one word be?
I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. I have to say different. I'm kind of thinking about myself and just my personality. Like, I'm not like most guys or most college students. Like, a lot of them like to go out and have fun on the weekends, but I'm kind of low key. I like to chill and relax and stuff like that. I love being in the gym. I just feel like I'm different from most college students, from most players. I think that's what sets me apart. And on the court, like, it just being different translates to, my versatility, being able to play inside and out, being able to guard all positions and stuff like that. So
you are being a 6'9" guy, and you're gonna be able to kind of run the 3 through 5, I can imagine. But we mentioned the fouls earlier, but this is gonna be a little bit different because going to the Big East, it's a lot more physical. It's actually by far, I think, in my opinion, the most physical conference out there. How excited would you be a part of a conference that is a lot more physical and really plays a lot more like yourself?
I'm ecstatic. I'm really excited. Being able to play against guys who play like me. It's gonna give me the opportunity to show every people that I can not only be successful, with the mid-major level in the OVC, but also in the Big East as well. So that's my biggest thing, is just being able to show everybody that I can do it at all levels.
No doubt, man. Well, a few more things before I let you go. One of which is a couple of things you've said before that was on your Eastern Kentucky profile page. One of which is that you can cook. How have you explored that, and take us through your cooking life?
I try to make anything. I couldn't say like I have a best meal. I feel like, with my skills, I can make everything. But I think my favorite thing to do is grill. I love steaks and grilling chicken and shrimp and stuff like that. But I can make anything.
Have you cooked for the team before yet?
I've had a couple of guys over. We've chopped it up, and everybody. Maybe they were just being nice. I don't know, but everybody enjoys it, so I'm gonna stick with it.
You also had another thing, like the one place you want to live or visit someday is Dubai. I'm agreeing with you on that one too, but what's your story behind that one?
One of my best friends, when we were in high school, he got the opportunity to take a visit out there. He spent like 2 weeks out there, and talking with him, and seeing what he got to see. Like, we'd FaceTime and stuff like that. Just seeing all the stuff out there. It's just like, yo, that's really crazy. Like, I feel like video chatting is like it does justice. So I gotta still.
Absolutely, man. Well, I was wrapping up discussing a legacy because I know that's something that all guys want to do for themselves. So when you are done playing basketball someday, what do you want you to remember for what you achieved both on and off the court?
I just want to be remembered as a guy who never backed down. He was always tough, always working. I want to be remembered as a guy who was relentless, who was never satisfied with how he was. I want to be the best me that I can be, at all levels, on the court and off the court. I want to be known as a great person, with great character, somebody that people could look up to, a real role model.
Without a doubt. And also kind of being a believer. Take us through your faith a little bit. Like, how have you seen God work in your life, and how has he helped get you to the point you're at today?
Without God, I'm nothing. This recruitment thing, this basketball thing, it's really giving me an opportunity, to show people my faith, really exercise it, put into practice. This thing that, we say in FCA, it's called the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We say that we might be the only Bible that people might see. So, that really resonated with me, being on this platform and being a student athlete, people look up to me. So, it's really one of those things that really convicted me to make sure that I am, doing what I'm supposed to do, and making sure everything that I am doing is pleasing to God, because, you never know who's watching. Mm-hmm. And you never know if this might be the only time that people might be able to see God through you. So, and then throughout this recruitment process, it's really helped to develop my faith. There's a lot of uncertainties, a lot of things, that might stress you out, like a lot of what ifs, because, it's a huge decision, it affects the rest of your life. And the biggest thing that the recruitment process really taught me is not to move unless God is there. That was one thing I prayed for, especially this go around. It's just for wherever I go, for there to be peace with my decision. I said if God isn't there, like I don't need to be there. I don't want to be there. And I think he really made that evident that where I need to be is Georgetown. So.
Was there a certain specific point in life? Was it this past recruiting process, or was it earlier in life? Was there a certain instance that you kind of remember that all of a sudden it really has kind of clicked for you? Like you really got that strong bond with God and it really all came together with you?
I think the recruitment process was really, like that real kick in the butt. I prayed, I read my Bible, but not like I needed to. But going through this process, I was so stressed out. Not like, people try to encourage you, like, oh, keep your head up, pray about it, you'll be okay. It's good and all, but probably that, I really need to like work on my relationship and really personalize it. This recruitment really taught me how to communicate with God, so to speak. I don't know. It's just just going through it all. It just really helped. It really helped. It was that thing that really incentivized. It really kind of helped me to develop my relationship.
Absolutely, man. My final thing for you: give Georgetown fans your 3 biggest goals you have set for your Georgetown career.
3 biggest things. First one I would have to say is, go back to back, win the Big East championship again. Is to, make it to the Final Four. And then my third goal is, have my jersey in the Raptors.
Absolutely, man. Well, congratulations once again on the move. Appreciate you taking time to come on today, and I look forward to seeing what God got next for you, man.
Sure, thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, you'll come on, man. God bless.
All right, take care.